Welcome back. So here we are back on the homepage. Well, not quite the homepage. We're under content. So we were in the textbook before, and I just brought us back to content. See, here's the link to the textbook. Here are a couple of the other things you need to know. The lectures, sort of an important thing to know, will be in here under video lectures. Simple enough. As of now, I just have the first lecture up. But eventually they will all be there. And once they're posted, they will remain there so you can review them. So because of the program that I'm using to record the lectures, I have to do everything in 15-minute increments. So that's why there are several videos for each day. There usually will never be more than 4 or 5 at the most. I'm aiming for about an hour of content per sort of segment, but you can have, but they'll all be here. They're numbered, what parts 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, I would do them in order. Just my suggestion. All right, let's see. Backing it up to content. All right, so there are the lectures. Now, I also am including PowerPoints for each lecture, and these are actually they're going to look very similar to what you see on the lecture. They just sort of review some of the main points. It's nothing fancy, but they can be helpful for when you're reviewing the material, or if you feel like you're, not following along on something. They will be there. There's one for each lecture for you to peruse. Usually it's things like maps and paintings that I think are useful for you to see. Sometimes there'll be some charts. It varies depending on what we'll be talking about. Back to content. So before I launch into the inquisitives, which is the most important thing we need to go over, I've put these in this order for a reason. This is how I strongly suggest you approach the course material. Do the reading associated with each lecture segment first. That gives you a kind of background, sort of a skeleton on which to hang. It's kind of the meat, if you will, of the topic. I probably just mixed a lot of metaphors there, but that's the idea. So I would do the textbook reading first, so the idea is not completely foreign to you as you start. That will make what I am saying, I think, a lot more accessible and, one hopes, interesting. Then, after you're done, then take a look at the PowerPoint, which, as I said, will look very similar to the video lecture, but we'll have some summary. That is my best bet for you. Obviously, I'm not there looking over your shoulder, but if I had to be taking this class, that's the order I would do it in. All right, so lastly, we have the inquisitives. Now, the inquisitives are like the textbook in that it is very, very important that you only access them through Blackboard. They are also associated with a fee, which you've already paid. But if you try and go to it through any other source, it won't recognize you. You'll be prompted for payment. And most important of all, it won't log that you've done the work. So if you weren't doing it, or even if you were doing it, but you didn't log in correctly, I won't have a record of that. And best case scenario, you'll have to do it again. So always make sure that you log in through Blackboard. The first thing you're going to do, and you're going to want to do this by the end of the week, that's by this Sunday night, is to view this little introductory bit on how to use Inquisitive. Inquisitive is very easy. It just sounds complicated, so it's really best to just let them walk you through it. It will take you to a screen that looks kind of like this. It won't say instructor access, but it will be the same general idea. You always, when doing Inquisitive, you always want to make sure that rattling sound you hear in the background, that's my dog. See, told you he was real. All right. You always want to make sure that this little green badge is lit up. This guarantees you that the Inquisitive is talking to Blackboard, so it's recording what you do. If it's sort of grayed out for whatever reason, log out completely, log out of Inquisitive, log out of Blackboard, log back in again and see if you can get it to work. If you still can't, try another browser, or if you can, another computer. Just give it 1 or 2 tries, and if you're still having trouble, let me know, and we'll figure something out. Usually that's not an issue, but every semester 1 or 2 students sometimes will have a quirky account. All right, so it will launch you into this sort of introductory video. It probably takes about 10 minutes. when you click on this and on any of the inquisitives, because the actual assignments will all look this way too, there you'll have this big sort of banner up here that will tell you that the grades will be accepted until a particular date. After this date, you will still be able to log on to the inquisitives. They're very useful for review, but you won't be able to record anything for credit. So just to be aware. All right, so you have the screen that explains how it all works. In Inquisitive, you get 2 scores. You get sort of a percentage and the number of points that you have earned. You need to make sure you hit both of these things. And like I said, I know it sounds complicated, but they explain it as they go along. All right. To get credit for the activity, you have to complete a certain number of questions. With this, it's 10, but for most of them, it's 20 when you're really getting into the textbook. And you have to hit a certain points threshold. Each question is worth a certain number of points. And you can vary the points that you sort of wager to see if you want to get through it faster. So let's start this so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. So a lot of the questions are sort of like these drag to fill in the blanks. They will give you the possible answers at the bottom, and you sort of just click and drag them. So you score points in Inquisitive by answering, well, questions. Let's not move me. Let's move. That might not work. Yeah. All right. So it's going to tell you if you're right. If you're wrong, let's see. So let's put a wrong answer in there. Okay. I guess I didn't read the question. Oh, it's a question confidence slider. All right, let's try and actually get one wrong this time. You must answer all right, target. This will be wrong. Okay, so when you get an answer wrong, that's okay. All right, it will lower your score, but you can still get sort of half credit for answering it correctly. So it will let you try again. In fact, you're not going to be able to move on until you get them right. Okay, so you would try it again. You must answer a minimum. All right. Okay. To get a perfect grade, you must reach a designated target score. All right, so once you complete it, as you can see, it'll let you earn back the points. You would just sort of keep going until you're done. At the bottom, you have the current grade and your activity score. My score is 30 points because remember, I got that one wrong, but I did finish the activity. I think it's at 800 to finish. I have no grade here as yet because I haven't answered the minimum number of questions, which for this is 10, but for most of these it will be 20. Once I answer the minimum of 10 questions, I will get my grade, and that percentage will reflect how I've done so far. I can stop then and say, done, I don't care, whatever. But if your score is not what you want it to be, if it says 62% and you'd rather it be 100, you can just keep answering questions until you get there. You can do this in multiple sittings as long as you're connected to the LMS, meaning remember that little green badge that was down here. It will log your progress, so you can close it and come back to it and pick up where you were. Just make sure that you finish it for good before the due date, and your high score will be preserved. All right, so that's Inquisitive. You can do the rest of it on your own. Like I said, it's fairly self-explanatory. We'll be doing 9 of these all throughout the semester, 9 real ones in addition to the how to use the Inquisitive. If you were to log on right now, you would not see all of these listed. You would just see the how to and maybe chapter 10 as well. They will appear or go live about a week before they're due, and the due dates for each one are on the syllabus on that sort of multicolored chart that I suggested you print out. Also, the first couple of weeks, I will send you guys an announcement, sort of a heads up kind of reminder. I won't do that throughout the whole semester, but just until we get into the rhythm of things. I don't think the class is actually that complicated, but there are a lot of moving parts. So the first couple of weeks, don't worry, I will be looking over your shoulder in a good way. So just to finish up, I want to go over the discussion board really quickly. This is where you'll be posting all of your written work. The written work falls into 2 categories. The first is these weekly Q&I forums. Q&I stands for question and insight. This is explained in more detail in the syllabus, as I said, but essentially every Monday you'll be posting 2 paragraphs, and then you'll have 2 days to write 2 other paragraphs in response to your classmates. So it will kind of, the idea is to get a little bit of a conversation going. And there's, as I said, more detail in the syllabus. Every week you will there will be a forum that is identified, week 2, week 3, and so forth. These dates here refer to the days that the posts are due. So the first sort of part of the assignment for week 2 will be due by 5 o'clock on the 23rd, and the second part, which is your responses to your classmates' responses, will be due on the 25th. The other written assignment are these longer discussion responses. It's very much the same thing, but in an extended form. We'll only do it a few times over the semester. The first one isn't for several weeks. Basically, I will give you a discussion prompt, and you will answer sort of the prompt. I will often include, I think, a primary source or two, and the idea is that you are going to form your own opinion and explain your take on the situation. You'll write about 1 to 2 pages about that. You'll post them on the appropriate board, and then in the following 42 hours, you'll write brief responses again to 2 of your classmates. And again, those responses only have to be like a paragraph, not the full page that you'll have written before. I think this sounds more confusing than it is. It's detailed on the syllabus, and you can always email me with any concerns that you have. One word of caution about these forum links: every week they'll get a little longer. We'll have week 2, week 3, week 4. They'll stay there. In the past, I have had issues with discussion board links just sort of disappearing. I don't really know what that's about, but it's happened so many times I don't think I'm forgetting to post them. If that happens to you, so if you log on to post in forum week 4, say, and you can't find anything after forum week 3, it's okay. Don't post it in week 3. Just send me an email saying, Dr. Hassenjaeger, I don't know where it is, and I will go and figure out what's the matter, and then I'll send you guys all an announcement saying, okay, it's safe, you can post again. The reason you want to do that is you always want me to know where your work is. So if I'm expecting you to post in Forum 4 and I can't find it, my first assumption is going to be that you didn't post, and you don't want that at all. All right, so really quickly, because we're running out of time with the 15 minutes, I want to take us back to the home page and then go to this link, VSU Resources. This is your first stop for non-syllabus questions, important phone numbers, the academic calendar. The ones that I want to highlight are the Students with Disabilities program and the technical requirements. Most technical issues I'm not going to be able to help you with. The only thing that I can really control on my end is your access to the ebook and the Inquisitive. So if you are logging on and for whatever reason you get that screen saying pay or register, and you've tried to log off several times and you're still having that problem, that's the kind of problem I should know about and I can help you with. You also want me to know why your work is late. Anything else, you're going to have to go to IT. I think that's it, actually, for our brief, more like 30-minute introduction. I will be sending you guys an announcement that very briefly recaps everything I just said for those of you who prefer to read over listen, reminding you what we have due this week, where you will find it, so on and so forth. So thank you for listening, and I am looking forward to a great semester.